This is Living Life with Brendan podcast, inspiring people to choose to focus on the positives and live a life with purpose. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Living Life with Brendan podcast. I'm so excited to have my guest here today, Nicole Kolbeck.
Hi.
Hello, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. So why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a mother of two. I have a grandson. I work as a nursing assistant at a memory care facility currently.
Okay.
And I love my clients.
Nice.
Even though they forget everything.
That's okay.
What else? I don't know.
Just moved
in last December, so it's almost been a year to my own home.
Nice.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's fantastic.
Yeah, you've always wanted your own place.
Yeah, you don't have to answer to anybody.
Oh, that's fantastic to
Yeah.
hear. Get to do all the planting you want in there?
No,
No? Why not?
it's a townhouse association,
Ah,
but I plant in pots.
there you
So
go. You can keep the ones alive inside.
yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much for being here, and we're going to dive right into a bunch of different topics today, and can't wait.
All right.
So Nicole was my PCA right when I was first injured, and she was with me for about 10 years, 11 years, I think. Okay. Yeah, long time. So we've had quite a few adventures and really got a chance to grow up. She helped me a ton early on with my injury, kind of going through life. And we're going to go through some of that today. But really, how I wanted to start out is kind of how we met and ended up together, because it's kind of a strange story here. But basically, when I was first injured, I qualify for hours from the county to get help and assistance because I need help with a lot of the needs that I have. So, for instance, there's all these boxes that need to be checked about bathing. Am I able to feed myself, get dressed, drive, basic functions throughout the day? And I kind of walk through those with the county, and they assess, different hours of qualifications and what we're looking for as far as help to come get me up, get dressed, and go through these. And so we ended up finding a couple companies, posting on it from my end. Had a lot of hits right away. Went through quite a few people that either weren't a good fit for me, didn't really know what the job entail was. So kind of was having a really hard time. And then we ended up having Nicole one day came through with the ad, and it was a match right from the beginning and had so much fun. And like I said, we can continue to talk about that relationship, but I'm always curious from your side what that looks like when I put that request through for help, because I know a lot of people in my situation, it's very hard to find good help. Even today, it's tough. It's, a low paying job that isn't great, isn't really beautiful to look at from the outside, but definitely is a necessity for people in my situation. So I'm always curious because for us, it's like we need help, we need this, it's so important. What does that look like from your end? Because I think you were at an agency,
Yeah,
correct?
I was at an agency. I was at a group home, and they kept asking me if I would do home care clients, and I was like, yeah, because nobody else wanted them. And so I would go to these people's houses and meet with them, and your family just happened to stick. So,
Why is it that people don't typically want to work with home care?
um, well, back then, I don't know if it's different now, but the drive and the pay,
Right.
but it was close to my house,
Mhm.
so that was one thing. Um, yeah, it's just you create a bond with families, and I think that was really something that I desired
Mhm.
too. I don't want to be just going to work,
Right.
and so yeah.
No, that's great to hear. And like I said, we were so happy
Mhm.
that you came along and you wanted to do everything and wanted to help out. And that's as we progress through kind of just talking with our relationship. I think one of the things I get a lot is people don't believe necessarily that I could be positive and am I just
Mhm.
doing this? And I'm like, well, I'm going to bring on Nicole, who's been with me for 11 years and has seen so much. I mean, from the progression of
Mhm.
first being injured to, I mean, I think for both of us being able to talk about relationships,
Mhm.
work, being able to vent. You've heard my ups and downs
Mhm.
along the way throughout the whole thing. And so, kind of as we progress through, right as we were going through, so some of the day to day, you can walk through what that's like for me, just coming, in the morning, getting me up.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay. So basically, I come get him up really early. um, do his cares, whatever that may be. Um, if you have a bowel program, obviously,
Hmm.
like these are some of the things that it entails.
Right.
Not always easy. Doing range of motion, bathing, you know, hanging out. Spending time watching TV in the beginning. A lot of TV
Right.
shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is.
So.
There's a lot of things, and that's the other thing too, right? I mean, I go to work now, get there
Yep.
by 8, but people don't necessarily know that to get there by 8, sometimes we have to start at 5.
Yep. Yep.
That's a lot that we kind of see behind the scenes, but that's the help that's needed, and you're kind
Mhm.
of the magic that makes it work to be able to get me there on time. So I'm always appreciative of that. And as we started, we were able to not only get back, get help, get a routine. I think we started doing rehab, going back
Yep.
to the Courage Center,
Mhm.
where we were going a couple times a day, doing my physical therapy and occupational therapy. I even have a photo back when we were doing the standing frame. So there's a frame that helps me stand. It's really good for my joints and my legs, being able to put pressure on my feet, just fully standing. So felt good to be taller than Nicole
Mhm.
after having her work for me a little bit. And there's a photo we can post here too, Steve. You can put that up for him.
Mhm.
But I'll post that and get a chance just to see the range because I mean, you saw from when I was first injured 14 years ago to now,
Mhm.
kind of the progressions that
Yeah,
we've
so
had.
much progression
Oh,
has been made.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fun, right? So
Mhm.
I got to try a lot of really cool stuff. I was able to do
The
the Able,
walking.
yeah, the
Yep.
Able program, a couple of those crazy machines where I was upside down like crawling.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, it's just really fun that you've been a part of this,
Yep.
like the journey the whole time, being able to see me. And then as we progressed, not only just going through, rehab at the time, but then it's like, let's mix school in there as well.
Mhm.
So Nicole, again, not only helping me drive and with rehab and food and everything that you were doing, let's throw going back to Gustavus on there.
Davis.
So we were driving 2 to 3 times a week. I think we were going
Yep.
down there,
Yep.
which St. Peter to Maple Grove. It's
It's
not
a
the
journey
yeah.
in the ice storms.
Oh my gosh, and the flooding.
Yes, the flooding.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So we had quite a few trips as we are going, and not only was Nicole coming down and dropping me off in classes, but you were
Participating in the classes.
participating in the classes as well.
Yeah.
So funny. So my advisor that kind of helped, coordinate everything, and big thanks to Bruce Johnson.
Mm.
At the time, was going through, and it was so funny. I remember he was in marketing, kind of helping with my business classes, and
Mhm.
Nicole was in those, and he was like, "Oh, this is so great. I wish we could somehow get credits for Nicole." And it was so funny because
Yeah.
he'd ask, he was asking you to participate
Mhm.
and join with all the classes. And, what was that experience like for you just with the college atmosphere and
It
take,
was odd, to be back in that setting, after years and years of being out of school, never going to college. So, yeah, it was an experience.
what are your thoughts on Gustavus, the campus?
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
Good food back in the day.
Good food. They had good food.
I always love the food. Their cafeteria is
I
fantastic.
think that's the only reason why you went.
That and the hockey program. Come on.
Okay. Yep.
We gotta be able to do that.
But I
Um,
didn't see you back in those days, so
no,
I can
no,
imagine it was nice.
but I did sell the food well.
Mhm.
And during this time, not only to mix in with school, with rehab, you helped me get my service dog.
Mhm.
So Rest in peace, Rio.
Mm.
We had my service dog mixed in. That was 2 weeks. A very thorough program with Helping Paws.
Mhm.
They do a fantastic job being able to find matches. But, again, not only were you there just dropping me off, but you were able to take part,
Yeah.
stay with me, learn everything, get a chance to meet Rio, grow a
Mm.
great bond with Rio.
Mhm.
Um, because I had Rio during the training, being able to do everything with him, and then when we came home, but it's like Rio still needs care done
Yep.
that I can't do. So you were able to kind of be part of Rio's life as well during all of
Mhm.
that as well. So what was that like? I know you're a big animal
Mm.
lover, as we
Yeah.
were just
Rio
talking.
was so sweet. Yeah. Just getting up, taking him out in the morning. He would love the snow. He would just sit outside and eat it. So, yeah, just bonding with him, brushing him, doing all his cares. Yeah. So, just petting him, giving him love.
Oh, he was so
Yeah.
furry.
He was furry. There was
Oh,
hair everywhere.
right. I'll put a picture of him up here for the folks as well. But no, it's always great. Again, this kind of just flows into finding good help and being able to rely on you for everything that we needed and all the different hats that you have to wear. I guess you didn't have to, but just the fact that you were able to step
Yeah.
up and do it, like, so appreciative of that time. So that was so nice.
Even playing the nursing role.
Oh my gosh, everything, right? So it's not just one thing. You're able to kind of help with the dog, help with me, help with nursing, help with
Mhm.
care. I mean, we've literally done basically it
Everything.
all. It all. So, as we progress through, then able to graduate from college.
Mhm.
Couldn't get you those credits, but
No,
we can still maybe fight that.
eh, it's questionable.
Doing rehab, and then I think the next thing was going to find a job. Like, I think next for me was after I graduated, I think I took a few weeks off and kind of wanted to be like, what are we going to do with my
Mhm.
life? So, you're able to help me get an interview, get down there, be able to work and navigate through kind of my next portion of life, which is the grind,
Mhm.
the 9 to 5. And that's where we talk about, timelines, making sure that we're getting up early enough, driving downtown. My first job was kind of in Northeast, the North Loop area.
Yeah,
At,
it was by Acme Comedy Club.
yeah, in Acme Comedy Club.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice.
Mhm.
I mean, they had good lunches
Good
and
lunch.
we had some happy hours that were there. Um, and just from them, we progressed with kind of making a normal schedule,
Mhm.
which is fantastic to hear. But one thing I do want to take some time and talk about are the vacations and the trips that we've had because we've had a lot of those as well. I would say, what did we do? We did London,
Vegas, London,
Vegas, and
Arizona.
Arizona.
Mhm.
Those are the ones that were out of town that I remember. So let's start with the Arizona one. Was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was neat in a sense that I had a visit for work that I wanted to go see a customer of mine, and they wanted to make it pretty quick. So I think we flew out
Mhm.
and then stayed the night in Arizona and flew back. We were back within 24 hours, which again, Nicole being a single mom of 2 kids, being able to have that flexibility, unbelievable.
Mm.
Can't thank you enough. But we were able to fly out there, had great accommodations for my work.
Mhm.
That's all I can say. And, as I was able to present to my customer, thankfully enough,
I walked up the mountain.
Nicole was like, can we go find a mountain to climb or something in Arizona? And this was in December. So
Yeah.
it was nice to get away. I think we
Mhm.
got up early and just sat in the sunrise because
Mhm.
it was nice to
Yep.
feel the heat, get away from that cold winter air. So yeah, you got to explore a mountain.
Mhm.
Flew first class both ways. It's very nice. Always a
Mhm.
nice perk. Try to get that when you can. And then let's jump into Vegas. Vegas was quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
That was one through my first job.
Yep.
But again, just something where I need help with everything I do. I talked about the aisle chair and how to get into planes and everything on my last podcast with Tony. But I need the help, and being able to have you there has been so just a safety net for me. I can rely on the workers and go with their word that they know what they're doing, but being able to have someone with me close enough that I can rely on and know is so much more relief for me
Yeah.
that makes me want to be able to travel more, makes me want to do a lot more. So I think just having that bond that we've grown really
Mhm.
allowed me to do these things. So Vegas is always Vegas, as
That was an interesting trip.
late 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. But this is the unique story of Vegas is, as we work and had a relationship, I went with kind of my friends, and then you had friends that were
Mhm.
in Vegas. So we kind of just were able to split up, do our own things, and
Mhm.
still when the necessities were there. I know our trip got a little wild on our side. I think were you more so in old Vegas? Kind of like you were
Yeah.
on the crazier side.
Well, I just walked the strip one day and then yeah, I went to like my friend's house and restaurants. So I didn't do anything crazy.
No?
Not crazy.
Yeah, I don't
We
believe it.
did go to a bar that had like weird stuff, but
Yeah,
that was
that
the only
seems
crazy one.
I think one of the nights we ended up not getting back to my because I remember
Yeah,
I don't know what time it was, may have been like 5,
4 or 5,
4 or
yeah.
5 in the morning. Yeah, there are some perks in this world of being paralyzed, and this was one of them that I'll share. We were at this line at a club in Vegas. It was my friend and I, and the line was extremely long, and bars don't open till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in Vegas, which I guess is why. But we go up, and this line's really long, and I remember driving my chair up with Eric was with me, and we're like, "Is this the line?" And the guy's like, who are you with? How many people? It was like, it's just the two of us. We just want to wait in line. They like waited for 5 minutes, and the guy's like, all right, come with me. And we're like, are we in trouble? This seems really odd because we haven't done anything. And, he brought us through and he's just a mammoth of a person. And then he like slid this hidden door. We walked through a hidden area. There were all these bottles on the walls, like a green.
I wish I would have came with you
Yeah,
guys
you
that
missed out
night.
on this
Yeah.
night. So then he set us up and he put us on a table in this bar and he's like, "Have a great night." Compliments of us, and I was like, "Heck yeah, this is thanks wheelchair."
And then you got back at 4 or 5 AM and
Yes, got back there, had a blast that night. We were living high. We didn't win playing any games because person I was with doesn't like to gamble
oh,
much, which
yeah.
made it not too great. But no, just again having your flexibility on the trip to be able to help me out at 4 or 5 in the morning
Mhm.
is greatly appreciated as always. So that was a good trip. Besides my chair kind of dying in that one too.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with trips and chair
Yeah.
dying, but that's when I want to move on to our London trip because I've referenced that with
Mhm.
Tony as one of my favorite trips I've ever taken.
That was an
And
interesting trip.
yes, and definitely want to dive into that one. So, again, I talked to Tony. I think he gave us what 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks head notice of being like, "Hey, do you want to go to London
Mhm.
for 7 days, 10 days?" And I remember being like, "Oh God, how am I going to swing this with Nicole?" I was like, "Nicole, what are the chances you want to go to London in 2 weeks for 5 to 7 days?" And I was so happy that you were able to be like, let me think about it. Okay, let's do it.
Mhm.
But again, having that flexibility, like I told Tony, it's tough. I have to plan most everything just with my situation. And this one, having you and having that reassurance of you being able to say yes
Yeah.
was awesome. We talked about flying first class, how awesome that was, and
It
how,
was so awesome.
yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
It was the greatest flight I've ever taken.
Really, well,
Like
international.
4 like meals, like
Oh,
back to back and drinks and I couldn't drink too much because
and the chairs. I
yeah,
mean,
the chairs totally reclined. Like they went all the way back.
right,
Yeah.
unbelievable. International first
But it
class.
was a long flight.
It was a long flight. I think it was like 8 hours, eight and
Yeah.
a half. A little scary when you're over
Mhm.
the ocean, the middle of the ocean, and you're tracking your plane. You know what I
I
mean?
was tracking the whole
I
flight.
remember looking
I
at that
couldn't
with
sleep.
yours. Oh, that was fun. But then I kind of mentioned this on my last podcast with Tony, where we get to our hotel, which is lovely. We
Mhm.
got connected to a room that's connected to the stadium. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
So the first night we're there, we're all kind of off because I think we arrived in the morning, even though we flew all
I
night.
haven't slept. Yeah.
So we get to our room and We've got our converters ready for my chair, and the first thing we do, we plug in the chair, and it's like, boom. We're like, ah, crap, this is not good. So chair dead, battery charger dead. As we rolled through like a day or two, we were able to get out of this thing. So then we started panicking, and I told, I'd mentioned to Tony, it was like, Nicole, can you try and go find a battery charger for a power chair?
I got in a taxi, made a couple phone calls, and I
Yeah,
didn't know where I was
elaborate.
going.
Yeah, what the heck happened? Because I wasn't with you. We were still at the game.
Um, I went with a gentleman that took me to some guy's shop. Like it was in the middle of a little town, and yeah, he kept the store open just for me
Oh my gosh.
until I got there, and he was like, "You know what? Go ahead." So
That's
I took
unbelievable.
the converter and brought it back, but the journey there was interesting. Yeah.
Right. Did he say that it was for didn't he say it was a power chair charger? He
Hmm.
just knew someone or
No.
had an
Yep.
extra?
Yep. He had an extra.
What are the odds?
Thankfully, the only one.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Because these chairs are massive. My
Yeah.
chair is like 300 pounds,
Hmm.
and with me in it, you can't just push it. I mean, you can put it in push mode, but it's extremely heavy and would have made the trip very
Yeah.
difficult.
Not to mention the tram and everything
Oh
that
my
we went
gosh.
through, the lifts, the taxi cab.
I told him about that last time, how
God.
when the lifts, you got to plan with the ramps each time. And the last one, we just didn't have a ramp. So we just, like I said, I Fast and the Furious just cruised right out,
Mhm.
about an 8-inch drop, made sure nothing got hurt. But then as we were journeying out, the taxi guy that told us he was going to pick us up just vanished. And we are
Mhm.
in like terrible parts of
Mhm.
London,
It was
and
getting dark. It
it
was
was raining.
raining.
Oh man. And then we also
Squished.
we squished everybody. There's like 6 of us into this taxi, and like I said before, we gave them all the money we had left over in our wallets, and again, it was not a lot of money, but it was enough to get us back to the hotel.
We didn't
Oh,
even get back to the hotel. We had to journey quite a ways, didn't we?
no, we walked until the taxi got us, and then the taxi
Okay,
brought us.
that's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Okay.
walked for, like, miles
Yeah,
and
we
miles.
did.
We ended up at, like, that street vendor
Yeah.
area where people were kinda yelling at us and like, "Ooh, no, we're just trying to walk back." It was like 20 miles back to where we needed to get.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we survived. We made it
We did.
through. Oh, no. So those are the trips we took, and like just a blast, and had so much fun. I
Mhm.
think there'll be more in our future. I'm excited
I hope
about it.
so.
Of course. Looking back, just, at everything that we've done, there's so much that we could elaborate on. What are some of the highlights for you just working and being a
Just,
part of us?
being with you, being able to see like how positive you are. Like that influenced me because my journey, so like just knowing how positive you were remaining the whole time that this happened to you, like it kind of took me back and then that happened to me. So like
Wow.
it just put things in perspective again. Like I was one helping you and then I'm needing help. So, you
That's crazy to
know.
hear. It's awesome to
Mhm.
hear also, because I got a lot of my strength because, like I'd mentioned, I've told people, one of the most caring, selfless people I've
Mhm.
ever met in my life. You helped me a lot of the ways, just with when I was having tough days, just thinking about what you're going through.
Mhm.
So I think that's why we were such a good fit, is
Mhm.
we kind of helped each other out and looked at each other. And, as we move into just talking a little bit now, so 2016 came rolling around. We were just kind of doing everyday things. And from my standpoint, you were having some headaches, and you can kind of elaborate on what was going on.
Yeah, I've always had like for the past couple years prior to that, I had headaches, but they would go away when I took something.
Hmm.
This time I went like a whole month with taking everything that I could think of that I can find to make the headaches go away, and they wouldn't. And so I ended up going in to the doctor and telling him, what had happened or what was going on. And he said, "Oh, I'll just put you on antidepressants." And I'm like, "No, I'm not going there. I'm not a depressed person. I don't need this."
Right.
So, and then he gave me an MRI, and they called me like 30 minutes later and told me I had a mass in my left frontal lobe. And I didn't tell you guys for a few weeks
I
because,
know.
yeah, I didn't know what to do, you know?
Well, And it's one of those things when you did tell me, it's one of those texts you read
Mhm.
and you look at it and it's one of those you just feel chills.
Mhm.
It's like when, I found out my mom
Yeah.
had cancer.
Yeah.
It's like you read it and you just are stunned for a second. You're like, this can't be right. Like
Yeah.
what the hell do you mean? It shifts from oh my gosh to okay, like what do we got to do now?
Yeah.
That's been my mentality throughout my whole
Mhm.
paralysis. And for you then just going through with that news, I guess from the start, like what was your initial reaction from the MRI?
I was I was numb, you know. How else I was a single mom. So to leave my kids because they ended up telling me that is inoperable after I had the biopsy. And I was like, no, this can't happen. They
Right.
gave me like 4 to 7 years, I think, 4 to 5 years. I'm like, nope, I'm not, I'm not dealing with this. Like, there's got to be another solution. So thankfully, I had it resected, but like for that period of time, I was scared. I was scared to leave my kids. I thought I was going to pass. Like,
Right.
who's going to raise my kids? I'm never going to see my son walk across the stage to graduate.
Oh,
Yeah, that would hit me hard, but I'm here.
yes, you are. And I have a quick story that I love from this
Mhm.
is Nicole gets her biopsy done, which again, they drilled a hole in your brain.
Yep.
And I asked her how she's feeling on Monday. And I think your response was, I'm doing fine, but I had a seizure over
Yeah.
the weekend. And I was
That was the
like,
day I was supposed to come back and start back work because I took a couple days off for the biopsy,
yeah.
and then
But they also told you to relax and lay down.
yeah,
And I was like, well, how did you have a seizure laying down? You're like, no, I was cleaning the kitchen and I was cooking dinner. Like, Nicole, you cannot be moving around. You need to
I'm
relax.
stubborn.
I know. But that's just the character and person that you are. You just want to always be helping
Mhm,
others, even at the sacrifice of yourself.
mm. I
Um,
had to sit my tail down for that one.
right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to and healed from that. It's just, not only physically going through that, but like you said, the mental state, being able to persevere through. I guess what helped you get through?
My kids, my kids, just thinking about my kids always.
That's
Yeah.
unbelievable. What were some of the tougher points during the kind of besides the fact of knowing this could happen and this could be what it was, but like physically, I think you had lost
Tired.
some of the speech too.
I lost speech for about a few months. I couldn't read. Um, I looked at my phone after the surgery and I just didn't know what it said, you know?
Oh my god.
So I started crying and the doctors came in and I started having like major anxiety. My heart rate was racing and they diagnosed me with tachycardia, which is a heart issue. But they also said it was white coat syndrome. So any doctor that I see, I would get nervous. So that's a result of, traumatic brain injury or anything to do with your physical being like traumatic.
Right.
So I got over that though.
How do you just you say that and it's so funny to me because of all the relationship that we have and like the life and what we've seen and gone through. It's I run into people and I talk about my life and even Steve who has helped me with this, he's
Mhm.
like, "How do you act so natural like with your day to day? You say like you just do these. These aren't normal things."
No,
And you
I
say it like, "Oh, I looked at my phone, didn't understand what it was, threw a fit. I got over it." It's
well,
like,
I had a process. There was a process. Like I went to speech therapy for a few
mhm,
months. I went to occupational therapy for a few months and like just dealing with being emotional roller coaster, like spending 3 days in the hospital for what I thought was my heart, but it was anxiety. So I had to get on anxiety medication, going through all that. Like it was a journey, definitely, but you know, I'm grateful and thankful to still be here. So I take every day with a grain of salt.
right.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
all we
that's
can do.
right. That's what I've been telling people. I think that's the philosophy that I
Mhm.
have is I'm extremely blessed to be, even if my situation is paralyzed
Mhm.
from the neck down. Being able to try and just see as much good as I
Mhm.
possibly can. And hopefully I've reflected that,
Yeah.
done a good job throughout the
Mhm.
time that we've had.
Mhm.
With the 11 years of being together, I mean, what were we, 5, if not more, 5 days a week, seeing each other,
Yeah.
being a part of each other's
5,
family?
sometimes 7,
Sometimes 7. Yeah, they're dependent upon trips and
Yeah.
being through. Um,
Parents go out of town quite
yeah.
frequently, and then I would
Well,
stay here and yeah.
exactly. Well, and then our home is your home, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we do have the pool. I don't get to
Mhm.
use it a ton. I
Yeah.
do get into it, but your
My
kids are
kids.
right. Come on over.
Yeah.
Why not?
Mhm.
So as we transition, again, so happy you're able to get through this. I mean, it's just massive to hear just being able to tackle that almost like, hey, what's next? No big deal. We can handle
Mhm.
this as life keeps throwing curveballs
Yeah.
your way. So what is new now with you as we progress up to 2023?
Well, my son is out of the house. He has a son of his own, so I have a grandson, and I'm
Oh, yeah.
enjoying that. And yeah,
Nevaeh's growing up.
she's growing up. She's growing up. She has a boyfriend, and she don't want to be with mom anymore.
Oh,
So I'm dealing with that. Uh, what is it? Rejection.
oh my goodness. She'll be driving soon.
Yeah. Well, I hope not. She's not ready.
It's amazing. We talk about how long it's been seeing your kids. I got a chance to see them
Yeah.
because, we were so close. And it's so funny when we would go to my first job,
Mm.
Nicole would come with her daughter and
Hanging feet, dangling.
she'd just be asleep as you'd help me walk in, picking her up, carrying her in, even though her daughter started to outgrow you a little bit. Her feet would be dragging as you carry her in.
I didn't
Oh,
want to leave her in the car, so
no. And nor should you want to leave
mm,
her in the car
yeah.
there. No, that's just it's incredible to see the growth and journey. And like I said, I'm so happy of the relationship that we had just because it wasn't just like a work relationship,
Mhm.
it became friendship,
Yeah.
which inevitably became family.
Mhm.
You'll always be a part of our family.
Thank you.
Of course. So again, thank you so much for coming today.
You're
Being
welcome.
able to share your story, I think it's going to help a lot of people
Mhm.
out there. Always want to stay as positive as possible. And so, kind of the last question that I like to ask people is even with everything that you've gone through, right? I mean, single mom raising 2 kids, um, grandma now, and going through brain tumors. I
Mhm.
mean, navigating through that to now owning your own house, kind of doing what you want to do. How do you continue to live life with hope?
Just stay focused, just work hard, always be appreciative of what you have. Like there's somebody out there that's less fortunate, you know? Like you're in a situation that I never want to be in, but you've stayed positive and remained so positive throughout your whole journey. Like I am grateful for you. I'm thankful for everything that everybody has taught me throughout this whole process. I don't have much family, but the family that I do have, I appreciate. And that's what kind of keeps me focused and moving. And I work a lot and I work hard. And I don't know, it just blessed, blessed.
It's
Yeah.
a beautiful answer.
Mhm.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
again, Nicole.
Thank you.
You make me cry here.
No, gonna make me cry.
No, all right. Well, thanks again. You'll always be a part of this family.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.